Okay, I am talking on this screen, which I normally don't do, but I need to explain the flowchart here. I need to explain what's going on here, but allow me to give myself a little image to use as a little cursor, so I can explain my thoughts better. Let's see, what random image can I use? I'll be using this little emo as my little cursor to explain things. Hello, Catman. Okay. So, when we started, it was like obviously here with like the prologue, and then we moved here, and then we went on to this side of events, and then we got all the way to like the Caricio end first, but then we went back to these endings, and we went all the way back here, and then we got to this chapter, and then this chapter, and then last week we went, like, we actually went all the way towards the beginning of this chapter. We just, like, literally the beginning of this chapter. But then last week we went back to this one so we could get this ending. Which means there's this whole chapter here that is before the next set of endings. And if it is anything to compare to this chapter over here on the opposite side, this chapter here, the Anatomic Duel, is the longest edited down video. So I don't think we'll be getting to our anticipated endings as we expected. It's gonna take 6 hours? I sure fucking hope not, but it might. That's not an impossibility if it's anything to compare to the other side. All-nighter, please no. No. So, this is like a good and bad thing, because I thought like I got too ahead when we did like these two during Donathon, but that ended up in my head thinking that like we would have a little like filler that we'd have to do before Catman. But yeah, so before ZocCon, like we were planning on doing a little special streamiversary thing, so there was like going to be an extra filler there, but next week we'll be able to do the other endings. So I guess no filler, no extra filler anyways. Unless this chapter manages to be short, which I don't think it will, but in the off chance that it does, then we can do the other endings. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be it. But I also hope it's not going to be as long as the opposite side chapter, but it might. So yeah, that is the reason why this flowchart has been set up. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna leave the little guy there. This will be fun my next stream, but I'll just see this as like, yes, this. So fun times, TM. So let's get into the main shit, I guess. Yep. Okay. Let's get our little cute selves into full screen mode. Yay. Full screen. Okay. Yep, load that one. I guess, no, I don't think there's anything really to fill in. Yeah. If you guys are lost, oh well. Because I'm also lost. Because I don't know why we're flashbacking to this moment, but I guess we'll find out. I'll shut up and read. Kaguri, from now on you're officially my daughter. This is when Kaguri was 6. She'd been living in a facility for war orphans and getting treatment at a dedicated clinic next door. It was a completely different place than the normal hospitals, which were overflowing with casualties from the war. It was a idyllic garden, shut off from the despair of the outside world so that children could live in peace. This was where she'd met her mom. Mom, Mayuri Shina, was a Class 2 caregiver at the facility who was always very nice to her. Really? You're gonna be my real mama? Yep, that's right. Yay, mama! No. Oh, sorry, got an email. That's somewhat important. Anyways. Yeah. It was impossible to express with words how happy Kaguri had felt. Being Mama's real daughter meant that Kaguri had become her real name. Aw. Kaguri became Kaguri Shina. Hey, don't hug me so tight. You're so spoiled, Kaguri. And then I can leave, right? I can live with you, right? No. Thoughts. I'm sorry. It looks like you need a little more treatment. That's right. Doctor sounds. Oh, doctor. Kaguri didn't know the doctor's name, but he was a nice old man who was always kind to her. It's gonna be another 6 months, and then it's over. You'll just have to hang in there until then. 6 months? When we talked about this before, you'd said 2 weeks. That's a big difference. I was referring to her physical wounds. The post-traumatic stress suffered by children during the Great Bombing of Tokyo far exceeds that of adults. I'm not gonna just... And we learned at her exam yesterday that she's still having nightmares. She's fucking 6. Is that true, Kaguri? That's not true. I don't have nightmares anymore. It's all fun dreams. Fun, fun, fun. I don't buy that. Kaguri, it's not good to lie. It'll make your treatment take longer. Nightmares are fun, I mean. No. You told me yesterday that you wake up with nightmares all the time still, didn't you? Yeah. Oh my. I see. It's proof that the memories of the bombing still exist in her mind as terrifying experiences. She's 6. No shit. Like, even if she wasn't 6, no shit. But she's 6, so extra no shit. Hello, doctor. If you don't treat them properly, it could lead to irreversible consequences. What are you gonna do? Take the memories of it out of her head? Huh? Desensitize her? Which is gonna be worse? You just learn to cope with it. Huh? You're right. So you don't mind if you continue with her treatment, do you? Mama. Ukasa. Mom. Oh, of course. Kaguri, let's do our best and beat the bad sickness, okay? That's a problematic way to refer to PTSD, but okay. Mom rubbed her head. Kaguri felt so at peace that she could cry. Okay. Yep, that's my girl. Okay, see you later, Kaguri. Mama. Mom took her hand away, and then instead the doctor took Kaguri's hand. She was taken to the usual room. There was a white reclining chair, and next to it, some kind of mechanical system connected to a headset. I can hear the same voice as always. You need to protect your mother. Protect this world. That's why you were born. I'm trying to see if I recognize the voice, but I'm not sure I do. It's obviously purposely distorted to an extent, though. She couldn't remember when she started hearing the voice. But by the time she was 6, whenever she was worried, uncertain, or in trouble, she could hear it. It was always kind and strong, and always cheered her up. In Kaguri's childish mind, she started to think it might be the voice of God. Since only she could hear it, everyone else said it was just an illness. But Mom was the only person who believed in her, or believed her. I need to protect Mama, so I need to work hard at my treatment. Kaguri's young heart was filled with a hope that she could someday live with Mom. And that's a messy apartment. As soon as she opened the door, Kaguri Shino was struck by an unpleasant wave of heat. It was early June, and this was the first day to hit summer temperatures. It was hot enough that just walking outside could cause you to sweat, but this small Japanese-style room had thick curtains and the windows were closed. The room was dark and cramped, and there were so many clothes on the floor there was no place to stand. It wasn't just clothes. There were all kinds of filthy things. Bags with half-eaten snack bread still in them, half-rotten food packs, plastic convenience store bags overflowing with trash, all scattered around the room. Yeah, I had a feeling it was Moika's room. I thought I recognized the layout and garbage. Yeah, damn bitch, you live like this. So true. And the area around the half-naked girl sitting against the wall was covered in bandages and gauze soaked with blood and pus. There were bandages tied around her exposed stomach, chest, and limbs, but these two were soaked with blood. The room was filled with a sickeningly sweet stench, though there was no way to know if it was coming from the garbage or coming from her. The owner of the room, Maika Kiryu, raised her head and looked at her, eyes filled with hope. M4, you're still alive? Why is Kaguri around her? When she saw Kaguri, who was still wearing her shoes as she came into the room, her shoulders slumped. You're not FB. Who are you? That's an awful thing to say to the person who saved your life. Maika gave a painful cough and spit up some stomach fluid mixed with blood. Oof. And stained her thighs and to the floor. Her wounds must have opened again, because the bandages around her stomach began to turn red. She spent 5 months like this, with no treatment from a doctor. Bitch, how are you alive? Maika had gotten into a gunfight with the Russian army and failed her mission as a rounder. That's nice. She lost 2 of her companions and her target, Kurisi Makuse's laptop, who was also destroyed. They pinned the blame on her. She was wounded and almost killed. It was Kaguri who saved her and brought her to this room. When if someone with a gunshot wound went to the hospital, the police would be notified. I guess that makes sense. And for that reason, she never got in any real treatment. Just find an underground doctor, duh. Her wounds had become infected, and even 5 months later, they still brought her incredible pain. No shit. Her terrible fever hadn't let up at all, and it wasn't rare for it to go from 39 degrees to over 40. Yikes. But Maika didn't seem very interested in her wounds. She was more interested in sending messages with the phone in her hands. She must have been sending more messages to her beloved boss. In the past 5 months, she'd sent almost 1,000. Jesus. FB, why won't you answer me? FB was Moika's boss on the Rounders, a woman who always gave orders to Moika via text message. And here, dorks with glasses that originally specialized in cosmetic surgery are all the rage in Ikebukuro. Yeah, it's not too far away from them either. Because they're in Akihabara, so, like, just a hop and a skip to Ikebukuro. Like, come on. Moika worshipped her to a degree to a degree that far exceeded what could occur within a normal employee relationship. The shock of being abandoned by FB had hurt her many more times than her actual wounds. Kagari tossed the bag she'd had slung over her shoulder at Moika's feet, along with 2 plastic bags. The backpack was filled with medicine that wasn't available without a doctor's prescription. Along with it was a whole box of illegal drugs used only for the treatment of severe pain. Normally these would be kept under strict control at a hospital, where no normal person could get them. Both of the plastic bags were filled with canned goods and other things Kaguri had chosen because they had the lowest probability of spoiling. Yes, drugs. Well, come on in, Hifumichu. You missed the fun little explanation that I had about what's going on with upcoming stream stuff with Steins. It was kind of entertaining to do because I just had a little PNG that I was using as a cursor. We are not doing an all-nighter. No. Goodness. If you don't feel like living anymore, tell me. I'll bring you poison instead. Catman, no. Kaguri, ma'am, yeah. But Moika didn't seem to notice Kaguri at all anymore. She was completely unresponsive. Kaguri had gotten used to her attitude over the last 5 months. But she wasn't just going to go home today. She wordlessly reached for Moika's cell phone. What are you doing? If they need drugs, I've caught wind of a transporter also in Ikebukuro that can bring them to you via motorcycle. So true. Moika tried to resist, but evidently she had no strength left. Kaguri was easily able to grab the phone. One of those e-bikes that's super quiet. Yeah, sure, totally just an e-bike. It was covered in blood and pus, but Kaguri forced it into her pocket without hesitation. Give it back. Moika started crawling towards her. It was like something out of a zombie movie. Don't get the wrong idea. You got new orders from FB. Moika froze. Orders from FB. Yeah, take it. Kaguri took another cell phone out of her pocket. It was the same Japanese cell phone that Moika had been using, minus the dirt and blood stains. The phone you've been using is under surveillance by the Russians and Americans, so she can't use it. So from now on, your orders will come in via this. Moika reached a trembling hand out toward the phone. In an instant, she snatched it away and clutched it to her chest like it was her own child. Will FB send me messages if I have this phone? You should have some already. Moika quickly opened the screen on the phone. When she saw the words on the screen, tears started to flow down her face. M4, my beloved daughter. No. I'm not sure if she'll read the rest of the message, so I'll read it. It must have been so hard for you. I know it was hard for me. Your failure was unfortunate. But I'm very glad you're alive. Get better and wait for my next message, okay? This time, complete your mission successfully and regain my trust. I believe in you from the bottom of my heart. To my beloved daughter, from FB. I mean, that's kind of cute, not gonna lie, but... Nope. Sobs. You didn't need to read it aloud. She didn't, but I did. So that's why I did it before, and what do you know? Of course, this message wasn't from FB. Kaguri had written it herself. Keep someone at the brink of death for 5 months, and then give them exactly what they want as bait, and you can easily put anyone under your control. Why is Kaguri evil in this one? Kaguri knew this well. Life suddenly returned to Moika's face. She spilled out the contents of Kaguri's backpack like a woman possessed. I want to get better. If Moika's lucky, FB thinks she's dead already, so... True. I need to regain FB's trust. That's right, I'm 4. Kaguri smiled, satisfied, and knelt down in front of her. I'll treat you. Take off these bandages. When Kaguri left the apartment, the sun had set. She spent several hours treating Morika's wounds. Her hands still smelled of medicine. Makes sense. It wouldn't go away for days, possibly. Yeah, that sounds about right. She sighed and put on her full-face motorcycle helmet, then went to the parking lot and got on her bike. I wonder if I'll hear the voice of God soon. She whispered. She took off on her motorcycle. It was almost July. Oh, I wonder if we'll get to my birthday. We're very close. I feel like there was a different ending that this happened before, and then my birthday got skipped. We'll see what happens this time. The rainy season hadn't been that bad this year, and what little remained of it had already disappeared. Temperature-wise, summer had come a long time ago. Summer. In other words, it had almost been a year since it happened. And then one Saturday afternoon, if I stayed home, not only would it be hot, but Dad would be on my case about helping with a family business. To get away, I'd come to the area around Ikebukuro Station. A year ago, I could have gone to the lab, but with Suzuha living there now, I'd mostly stopped going. But that meant that it was hard to find a place to study on my days off. It was too much trouble to go to the university. And the classrooms probably weren't open on weekends anyway. After a lot of research, I'd settled on spending my free days visiting the cafe near my parents' home and spending a few hours there. In fact, a lot of the other patrons did the same thing I did, buying a single cup of coffee and sitting there for hours on end. Some brought books, some brought computers. I chuckled to myself as I realized I joined the ranks of the other normies. I'm getting intense deja vu. Like, from the game. I feel like this has happened before. Well, I'm pretty sure it's happened before. I just don't remember which ending. I think it happened literally last week, though, right? Like last week's stream. Previous ending, yeah. Do-do-do. Where are you now? Yeah, the same messages. Oh, the usual cafe, right? I just went to your place and you weren't home. Did my dad make a nuisance of himself again? It's okay, give me some barley tea. I have to go shopping. Will you come with me? This is literally the same. That's interesting. Thank you. Okay, I'll leave now. Wait for me. So she went to my house. Yep. The Okabe lore. My family's business is called Okabe Green Grocer. It was a beat-up old store located in a run-down shopping street. The place was almost 40 years old. I really wanted to rebuild it. I really wanted them to rebuild it, not rebuild it himself. Yeah. My mind had wandered. Nagi was going to be here in less than 15 minutes, so maybe it was time to call it a day. I'd worked pretty hard during the morning, so it wasn't too bad. I was a little surprised at how hard I've been working lately. I could feel how having a goal gave me energy. I needed to get to Victor University as soon as I could. Victor University. And I was still in contact with Maho via email and chat. She was evidently busy with her research, because she was always sleepy. I took out my phone. I found myself looking for a certain icon on the home screen. But of course I deleted it myself 6 months ago. Amadeus. Was Kurisi doing well? Knowing her, she was probably coming up with some complicated theory or teasing Maho. It was also possible that she was visiting at channel and hiding it from Maho. At channel. That's right. Kurisu had internet access. So it makes sense if she accessed that channel. But given that, could Amadeus post on message boards? Kurisu had spent a lot of effort last summer trying to argue with John Titter on at channel. That happened in the Alpha World line, though. Still, it meant that she was okay with posting. So there's the chance that Kurisu was doing the same thing. If Amadeus had even temporarily access to the network, then just maybe. I opened the web browser on my smartphone, and without really expecting much, ran a search for a nickname I knew I'd never forget. Guri Gohan Kamehameha. It was the handle that Kurisu had used once. Whoa. I spoke without thinking. I bowed my head a little towards the other customers who were staring at me coldly and looked back at my smartphone. Amazingly, the search turned up several hundred results. They were all comments on at channel. I took a look at the dates of the results page. The list dated back to 2008. This must have been written by Kurisu when she was still alive. I never expected to see traces of her here. And wait, did she really need to post this much? I didn't realize she spent this much time on at channel. Your comments are spread out on a lot of different boards. Physics, mathematics, science fiction, and of course, the occult boards. For example, in the science fiction threads, she had had passionate discussions about time machines, of course. But unlike in the Alpha World line, she never came out and denied the possibility of a time machine. Surprisingly, some of her comments seemed to be quite the opposite. No, I guess that's not surprising at all. After all, she'd gone through all the work required to write a paper on time machines. Compared to that, her comments on the occult boards were brutal. She would absolutely crush the arguments of anyone who dared to propose anything even the least bit unscientific. Supernatural phenomena like crop circles, poltergeists, and spontaneous human combustion. Out-of-place artifacts, the Mayan doomsday calendar, conspiracy theories about how human DNA had been brought up from another planet. She broke them down and refuted them with a cold thoroughness that even drove away her own side, and if anybody dared to challenge her, she'd leave them flat on the canvas. It was just like Kurisu. Her comments offered so little room for discussion, it was aggravating to read them. Does she actually enjoy all this occult stuff? She put enough energy into this that I couldn't help but wonder. This is just too much. The first time I met her at last year's ATF, I'd gone through the same experience. But after a certain point, the Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha combat suddenly stopped. The cutoff date was July 27th of last year. The day Kurisu died. Didn't Kurisu die the 28th? Her last comment was a slightly too heated response to someone who was mocking Dr. Nakabachi's Time Machine press conference. That was the 28th, though. Whatever. My chest tightened with the sensations of nostalgia and sorrow. I decided to close the browser. But when I stopped as soon as I saw her next comment, I brought the phone closer to my face and stared at it again and again. The date of the comment was December 1st, 2010. This can't be. Casey died in July 2010. So this couldn't possibly be her. So who was it? Was it someone else who had taken over the identity of Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha? Or was it? Since there was no chip code, I couldn't tell for certain. Boop. Tip. Encode a string of characters that appears next to the name on the @channel message board. By entering your name as name, pound, some word, you can cause some word to appear in an encrypted form. Interesting. December 1st was just after Maho and Dr. Lixnin had come to Japan, and also about the time I had encountered Kurisu. After that, Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha commented about a rate of once per week. I looked for the most recent comment. Wait, that's last night. It was a discussion about relativity theory. Clearly did get foul-mouthed when she went on @channel. But then I realized that she said the same thing to me face to face. So you're one of those people who thinks that the Michelson-Morley experiment didn't led to the development of relativity theory? No wonder you weren't making any sense. Go back to grade school, fool. Nobody even talking to you. Damn. Kurisu. If this wasn't some imposter, if this really was Kurisu, what a miraculous and yet stupid story. Did Maho and Dr. Luxinen know about this, I wonder? Probably not. Kurisu wasn't going to tell them. I couldn't help but laugh. Should I try to make contact with her? I wanted to see if this Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha really was Kurisu. And then I came up with a good handle. Salieri's neighbor. Oh. Of course, this was a knockoff of Maho's idea. If Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha really was Kurisu, she'd have to notice it, right? Okay. I thought I smelled moron. It's true that the original purpose of that experiment was only to prove the existence of aether, but you can't deny it helped Einstein. As a result, you can say it formed the basis of his theories. Someone needs to go back to school, and it ain't me. And there it's posted about that. I wrote something deliberately provocative words, and importantly, I mixed in some mistakes. Not to brag, but I thought I knew a lot more about Kurisu than Maho did. If it is Kurisu, then this will fish her right in. My favorite type of fish. The Kurisu fish. The act of fishing. Yeah, The act of catching fish. Also refers to deliberately provoking someone on an anonymous internet message board, or typing in deliberately false information and drawing the angry response. Okay. It would have been really funny if they left it at just like the first sentence for the tip, but okay. Gunny. At some point, Mayuri had walked up in front of me. Oh, you're here already? I've been so busy writing my comment that I hadn't noticed. I hurriedly put the phone away and stood up. Okay, ready to go? What's wrong? Nothing. Let's go. Mary and I left the cafe. Mary and I met up and headed for Tokyo Hands. When I stepped inside the air-conditioned store, I felt refreshed. It was this hot in June. I shuddered to think of what it was going to be like in July or August. So what are you going to buy? We're going to make some signs for advertising. So I need poster board and highlighters and stuff. 4chan friends call it baiting, which only comes from the same rough idea being a reference to the fishing style. Fair enough, I guess. Are you gonna put out a book at this year's Komimo? Nope. It's for Okabe Green Grocer. Huh? What did you say? My family business? When I went to your house today, I talked to your dad about it. And I said that she would make them for him. Wait, seriously? Wait, that could be such a jerk. There's really no reason you have to do that. But, she wants to do it. You're sure? Your mom and dad are always so nice to me. No. Okay. I'll get you something as a thank you present then. Really? That makes me so happy. I took a quick look around and saw that they were selling a lot of things you could use for advertising. I decided to mostly leave the purchasing decisions up to Mayuri. She spent quite a while deciding what to buy. But well, maybe because of all the time she spent at Maid Queen Yan Squared, her taste ran in the direction of cute and anime. Hey, don't you think this heart shape is cute? How are we going to use a heart shape to sell fruits and vegetables? Magic. Well, how about this? Mr. Matsutake is thick and sturdy. Why not take him home tonight, ma'am? Oh boy. Or maybe... try my juicy ripe melons. Mayuri. Oh, Mayuri. Agreed, Okabe. Daughter didn't brainwash you while I wasn't looking, did he? That's understandable reaction. Huh? No, never mind. Mayuri looked confused. Confused and completely oblivious. Anyway, no heart shapes. It look like we're up to something we shouldn't be. Really? I think it's cute. It doesn't have to be cute. That's what I'm trying to say here. My original intention not to interfere had gone by the wayside. And anyway, if you buy any more than this, you're going to have extras. My shopping cart was filled with cardstock in various colors and shapes. This will last us for... Whoops. This will last us for a long time. You're right. Okay, let's go then. We went to the cash register to check out. But since it was a Saturday, the checkout area was overflowing with shopping carts. Since it was going to take a while, I sent Mayuri to browse the toy section on another floor. I knew they'd have some stuff from one of her favorite shows, Rainet Kakeru. Mayuri looked apologetic, but did what I told her to. In the end, I waited a whole 15 minutes at the register. As an apology, I decided to get the present I promised her. She seemed really happy as she stared at the keychain. It was Upa, the mascot character from the Rainet Kakeru series. I told her once she went over to the toy section she could pick out anything she wanted, and this was what she chose. You seem pretty happy about that, given how many Upas you already have. And that's a regular green Upa, right? Not the rare one. The rare one. Do you mean the metal Upa? The most popular and rarest of the Upas was the shiny silver metal Upa. For example, whenever there was a lottery for rare Rainet Kakeru stuff at the convenience stores, the top prize was always a metal Upa. My auntie had told me once that they sold for tens of thousands of yen at auction. Tisk, tisk, tisk. For some reason, Mighty was wagging her finger at me. Nope. This is a green Oopa, but it's not a regular one. This is the green fairy Oopa that was in the movie they just released. Come to think of it, there had been a Rhinet Cockadoo movie out in spring. And Mighty sat in a theater full of little kids to watch it. The green fairy. Is it okay if I spoil the movie? Go ahead. I'm not going to see it. So this movie is about a fight with an evil super hacker in the virtual world. Tutturu was the antagonist all along. At least in the movie, anyway. The virtual world is a forest where the fairies live. Mr. Super Hacker is really strong, and Cockadoo and Oopa are in big trouble, but just when they're about to lose, the fairies come to save them. And it turns out that the fairies are actually the flowers in the school garden that he'd always taken care of. Amazing. They came all the way to the virtual world to save Cockadoo. And then there was this big shiny light. And then they combined with Oopa. And that's Green Fairy Oopa. He's really cute and really strong. Mayashi thought it was so great. I love stories like that. The director is a genius. Like, I see. It was rare for Mayuri to get this excited about something. I took a closer look and saw that the design was a little different from the standard Upo. I didn't know a lot about Upas, so I couldn't say exactly what was different. I've actually been spending a lot of time looking for this keychain. It's really popular, so it's sold out everywhere. I never would have thought Hans would have had one. You're pretty lucky, huh? Yep. And it was the last one. I'm glad I came today. I need to thank you and your dad. Mary took the tag off the keychain, got her house key out of her bag, and carefully attached it. No. Hey. Oh, goody. She will treasure this forever and ever and ever. No. Very cute. 10 out of 10. Yeah, please do. Make sure you don't lose it 5 minutes after you get it. It did happen before, after all, as we all know from the first game. Like the metal Oopa I'd won for her at the radio building. Mary had lost it in no more than 5 minutes after I gave it to her. I wondered if she had ever found it. I didn't really want to remember that time in my life, so my memory of what happened to the metal Oopa was vague. Yep. I'm never gonna lose it again. The two of us started to head back. I'm gonna work hard and make the ads for your shop, okay? No, yeah. You still got to do that. I've been thinking the job was done once we bought the materials. The real work had actually begun now. Should I help too? No, I'm fine. Believe in Mayashi. I'm a little worried after you try to buy heart-shaped cardstock. It's fine. Well, It's nice of you to make the medal, so I won't complain. Oh, I need to call Mom. I'll tell her that I'll be home for dinner. Why not eat at my place? I'm sure either Mom or Dad will try to get you to stay anyway. I don't know. Are you gonna stay at home the rest of today? You won't go to any singles parties? I haven't been to any lately. Last fall, when I've been trying to become a normal college kid, I forced myself to go to as many as possible. But lately, I've been so busy with my studies that I hadn't had a chance. I see. Then maybe I will. Mary took out her phone and started to type something when the concept of Okabe forcing himself to go to mixers is funny. Yeah. Her expression suddenly darkened. She stopped moving. What's wrong? I just got a message from Kaede. I didn't notice it. What should I do, Okani? I'm really wondering when things are going to be different. Because it's already been like a minor difference with the whole, like, finding if Kurisu's still active on at channel. Because in the other one, we still had Kurisu, so he just like talked to Amadeus and Kurisu directly. So like, I'm wondering what else is going to be different. Because a lot of it has been pretty much the same. Mighty seemed like she was on the verge of tears. Did something happen? Hey, Okari. You told me before that Fubuki's not sick, right? Fubuki? You mean Nakase? Not Kurishima, right? Yeah. Is that true? She's really not sick? Yeah. I don't think so. But Mighty showed me her phone. Fubuki's back in the hospital. I'm on my way. Here's the location. She's back in the hospital? I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the screen. Fubuki was at a different location than before. This time it was the AH Tokyo General Hospital High-Tech Medical Center in Yoyogi. It's supposedly one of Japan's most advanced hospitals. According to what I read on the internet, patients with the new encephalitis that everyone was talking about were being gathered here for special treatment. But I'd also read lots of really bad urban legends about the place, and I was a bit worried about what kind of horror show I'd find there. You predict evil Exodus again, but it's too early to know for sure. I don't think so. I actually strongly disagree with that one, because the previous ending was technically the Lexington ending. So it wouldn't make sense for that to still be true. Like, it's the quote-unquote bad ending / Lexington ending. So. But who knows? We'll find out. But of course, when we arrived, it was nothing like that. It was very clean and decorated like a luxury hotel. Mairi, Okani. This way. Kaede and Yuki waved to us as we entered the lobby. Yuki had gotten a message from Kaede as well, and had evidently come right over. Where's Fubuki? She's fine. Yuki gave Mairi a soft hug and a smile. No, huggies. I don't know why I said it like that. Oh, sorry. Kaede bowed her head apologetically. Sorry to scare you. I was kind of in a hurry myself. I should have checked more carefully before I messaged you. What do you mean? How's Nakase doing? I just met her mom in the hospital room, and it doesn't look like her illness has gotten any worse. And then they've just brought her here for more examinations or something. Yes, that's what they said. So there's nothing to worry about. Oh, I'm so glad. Mary looked extremely relieved as Yuki continued to hug her. No. If I remembered right, the last time they examined her, they said it was possible she had the disease, but as long as it didn't get worse, it wouldn't affect her daily life. They just told her to come back for regular checkups. The new encephalitis had arrived in Japan over 6 months ago, but the number of patients was still increasing. Fortunately, there hadn't been a single casualty yet. And I'm pretty sure that's no illness, though. I was certain that what they were calling encephalitis was actually something similar to reading Steiner. One time when I went to visit Fubuki in the hospital, I had secretly investigated the other patients. I wasn't able to get any proof, but I found out most of the patients in her wing had, to varying degrees, memories of the same world line. Many people had memories of Japan at war. Can we see Fubuki? They say they're doing an MRI to look at her brain right now, so she's not in her room. I see. But it'll be done soon. Fubuki's mom told us to wait here. Kaede motioned to Mayuri, indicating she should sit down on the nearby sofa. Once the exam is done, she's gonna come get us. Ugh. I'll let the girls sit down on the sofa and stood next to them while I surveyed the lobby. This is an amazing hospital, isn't it? Yeah. Was Nakase's family really rich or something? I was just staying in a place like this. No, that's not it. Fubuki's mom says that the Japanese and American governments are paying for a new treatment project. It's going to be centered around this lab in a dedicated hospital in America, supposedly. I see. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. If I was right about what this disease really was, it was hard to imagine a bigger waste of money. Nope. This looks... Please, give all the patients private rooms, and try to keep the rooms as far apart from one another as possible to ensure the patients don't come into contact. But there aren't that many open rooms. You need to do it anyway. If the patients talk to each other, they'll start to share their dreams, right? Sure, that's true, but once a person hears about someone else's dream, their brain can trick them into the thinking they had that dream as well. Across the lobby, I saw an old Japanese doctor in a white coat and a big man in a suit who was frantically trying to talk to him. At the same time, looks Gneasel blatantly promoted fascist ideology right before torturing Gokabe, so I hesitate to call him a good guy at all if he's associated with Stratfor in this world line. Yeah, who knows what's going on? I definitely don't. Oh, I'd seen the man in the suit before, so have we. Actually, it was a man I knew well. But Professor Luxinen. I hurried over. Dr. Luxinen, it's me, Okabe. He must have been wearing his translator, because he was communicating with the old doctor in Japanese. Dr. Luxinen's face quickly broke into a smile when he saw me. Oh, Rintaro. His voice was so loud that everyone in the lobby, doctors, nurses, staff, and even the patients turned to look at me. But Dr. Luxinen didn't seem to notice them as he ran over. He was like a giant American football player racing for a touchdown. Well, wait, Professor, stop. Hang on a sec. I will be right back. I'm back. I hope you guys don't miss me too much. Anyways, my cries went unheard as Dr. Luxinen tackled me and then pulled me up. Then he switched from football player to pro wrestler, and he swung me up and down. I felt like I was a little child. Or maybe you are. I don't know. There was nothing I could do to resist him as he flung me around. A moment later, he noticed the cold stares of the people around us and finally released me. Oh my, I'm sorry. I was so surprised. I got a little too excited. Dr. Luxinen bowed to the people around him in apology. Dr. Luxinen, who is this young man? The doctor that Professor Luxinen had been talking to was staring at me suspiciously. Oh, well... I wasn't sure exactly what to tell him. It wasn't like he was really my professor. He seemed to be a student. Which school are you with? If you're studying brain science like the professor. No, He'll be a student at Victor Conduit this September. I'm planning on having him come to my lab. Huh? I see. Victor Conduit University, eh? That's a surprise. I looked over at Dr. Luxinen questioningly, but he gave me a mischievous smile. This guy. He really was such a kid. It was very rare for a Japanese student to be able to go there. I'm impressed. Thanks. After the doctor left, I sighed loudly enough for Professor Luxon to hear me. So, who was that guy? The director of this hospital. The director? You just told a lie to someone that important? No. Did I lie? I said you'd be a student starting in September, but I didn't mean this September. Or what? Do you think you don't have what it takes to make it to my school in the end? That's a little unfortunate, but he really was like a little kid, completely shameless. He is a white man. He is a white man. But still, it was hard to hate him. I'm surprised, though. I had no idea you were in Japan. It's been 5 months since I'd seen him at Narita. I looked around for Maho, but I didn't see her anywhere. Are you not feeling well, Nintaro? Did you come here for treatment? No. I'm here to visit a friend. Oh, I see. That's good. Well, it's not good for your friend. I'm sorry. No. So what are you doing at a Japanese hospital? Dr. Luxon and brought his face close to mine and whispered so that the people around us couldn't hear him. You've heard about the new encephalitis cases, right? And the American government asked our psychophysiology lab to look into it, but they've hit a roadblock. The university ordered me to help with the investigation. I see. So you're helping with the new encephalitis cases. Now there's a word I didn't expect to hear. I explained that my friend was here because they thought she might have the disease. Is your friend named Katsumi Nakase, perhaps? Oh yeah, because they met. I literally did this last time. It's like, how does he know her name? But then it was revealed. He was literally at the Christmas party, and here I was about to do the same thing. I'm not doing an all-nighter, Catman. But you have good sleeps. I'll catch you next stream. Be it yours or my own. Anyways. Oh, yeah. You met her at the Christmas party, didn't you? That's right. My interest in this new disease started with that party, you see. Both you and Katsumi collapsed, right? He was right, actually. In my case, I've been sent to the Otherworld line. I met up with her again several days ago. She managed to know why she was being sent back to the hospital when she was just fine. I see. Would you tell her it would make me happy if she was a bit more cooperative? Huh? I actually feel really bad for both her and all the other patients. We and the Japanese team are doing what we can, but we just don't understand the results we're getting. Doctor looks in and its usually chipper expression darkened. The man was such a ball of vitality that I hadn't noticed until then, but when his smile disappeared, I could see the wrinkles that had formed on his face from exhaustion. He must have been working hard, like he said. To be honest, none of the doctors thought we'd have this much trouble explaining it at the start. What's wrong, Rindaro? Oh, well... Is there something wrong? No. I'm not a medical student, so this is all outside my expertise. I was just about to tell him about my reading Steiner, but in the end I couldn't. Good. If my uninformed opinion was wrong, it could cost the encephalitis patients their lives. I couldn't just tell him when I didn't have any proof. And then his face drew close to mine again. By the way, Kotsumi was saying something very interesting. She said something about not being sick, about how she was actually experiencing another world in her dreams. This is so stressful knowing the bad ending. So true. So true, bestie. But I told her not to say anything about it. Could she not help it? This was bad. They might start to doubt her sanity. Well, Nakase's got a very vivid imagination, maybe. She loves sci-fi and anime. She probably just said that she has the power to experience parallel worlds because she saw it on some show somewhere. I remember that I used to say stuff like that. The delivery of the laugh was really great. 10 out of 10. Love it. I tried my best to come up with excuses, but Dr. Luxton still seemed concerned. But still, I was really surprised when I started participating in the treatment project. One of these strange things... One of the strange things about this illness is that many patients share the same dreams. I'm assuming it's similar to a mass hallucination. But what do you think? I've never seen this before. From a brain science perspective, I just don't have an answer right now. To be honest, unscientific is the word that seems to best fit. Like parallel worlds, or memories of a past life, you know? I see. It would help if you talked to Katsumi too. And there's some things you can't say to a doctor, but that you can tell your friends. Sure, I'll ask her, I guess. So, Rindaro, that aside, I have a question for you. Dr. Luxon was looking over my shoulder. I got a sense of this at the Christmas party, but your girlfriends really are cute, aren't they? Cute na. Huh? I turned around and saw that Mayuri, Kaede, and Yuki had all stood up from the sofa and were looking at me. When they saw Dr. Luxon and was looking at them, they waved. So are any of those girls involved with you right now? Yuki, Kaede, Mayuri, Luka, or maybe Katsumi? I love that Luka's in the list. But his words were so surprising I couldn't think of anything to say. Maho would often call this middle-aged man a mischievous boy, and that was exactly the look he had on his face. No, I won't force you to tell me. I don't want to pry into your private life. But, well, I'd hope to have something to tell my favorite student. Dr. Lixon turned to walk away before I could figure out what he meant. Alright, then, Toto. I've got to talk to the director a little more, so I'll be going. I'd love to go around to all of these girls and give them a hug too, but I'll save that for next time. Tell them I said hello. That, sure. Mayority and the others came over to me as I watched him go. Was that Dr. Lixon? Yeah, I knew I'd seen him somewhere before. I thought he'd gone back to America. Huh. Oh, goody. There was no way I could tell the girls what Dr. Lixon and I were just talking about. After Fubuki's exam was over, we went to her room and did listen to her complain, and then the visit was over. Just like Dr. Lixon had said, she looked just fine. She told us she was ready to leave the hospital and jog all the way home. Mayuri and the others were relieved, but I felt worried. Did I need to talk to Dr. Lixon about reading Steiner after all? No. Don't. Don't do it. Don't do it, man. I like that there's like an ad for a corpse party just up here. But yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, also Chaos Child. I just noticed that's there too. Man, I want to spot what all the things that are like there's posters for. I'm pretty sure there's a Steins Gate poster too, which is really funny. Oh yeah. Don't mention it to Maho either. You're so right, Spooky. I can't recognize the poster like on the left side that's closest to us. Or even the banner that's closest to us. If I probably tried to read it, I could figure it out though. Yeah, okay, I got it. Okay, well, let's stop getting distracted by the background. Let's move on. But how would I explain it? You don't. Operation Babel. Ah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, I see how that's pet. It threw me off because the font's weird, so like I could not figure out what was after the O. I'm not familiar with that series either. I just noticed on the right side the panty panty line. That is amazing. Okay, anyways. I said I would stop getting distracted by the background, yet here I am distracted more with the background. Anyways. It might be a better idea to talk to Mom and have her explain it to him. No. I couldn't get to an answer right away. We said goodbye to Kaede and Yuki at one of the stations on the way back. Before we got to Ikebukuro, I remembered to take out my phone and open the web browser. I went to @channel, eager to see how she responded to the bait I spread this afternoon. Yes! That was a very amazing Okabe sound. I put my hand over my mouth to stifle the noise. Understandable, Mayuri. Mayuri had been standing next to me, and she was leaning over at my screen. I fished her up, all right. It was Fitzgerald and Lorentz who based their hypothesis off that experiment. Einstein himself said it had nothing to do with his theories. You don't even know that. How ignorant are you? I didn't think it would go this well. The timestamp was just 30 minutes ago. I decided to respond immediately, using the same name, Salieri's neighbor. You're the ignorant one. In a letter written before his death, Einstein said that he was... Oh, I didn't even get to finish reading what he wrote. Sounds like the sort of notes you make when getting stabbed. You know what? You're right. I posted that and then reloaded the thread. There's already a response from her. Okay. You're the ignorant one. In the letter written before his death, Einstein said that he was aware of Michelson's and Morley's experiment. I know that, duh. All he said was that he knew of the experiment, obviously. Einstein used the physical experiment. I can't read too well behind the text box. Cries. The time lag between the posts was just 21 seconds. It was kind of irritating to have her come after me so hard. It was as if she was insulting me as a person. Well, I was the one who deliberately written in mistakes, so I should have expected it. I guess. Einstein used the physical experiment and stellar aberration to come up with a theory of relativity. You can't just let anyone else win, can you? I see you haven't changed a bit. Or you Mozart. It's like if two 12-year-olds were quantum physicists and arguing. So true. The thread's other residents were probably confused. Everyone except for her. Residents. Regular users of a service primarily refers to frequent commenters on anonymous internet message boards, which makes sense, to be honest. Mary had been watching our exchange and looked at me confused. Yeah, that's fair. Do you know this Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha person? I mean... yeah, there's someone I've known for a long time, I think. Now then, how would she reply to the nickname Salieri's neighbor in the post I just wrote? I was curious, but there wasn't an immediate response like before. The train reached Ikebukuro Station. Oh, Karin, we're here. The train slid into the station and stopped. I reloaded the thread one more time before the doors opened, and there's a very short response from Kuri, Gohan, and Kamehameha. Who are you? There could be no doubt now. This Kuri, Gohan, and Kamehameha was Kurisu. No, Suzuha perspective. It was a very hot day in 1998 when Suzuha said goodbye to Kagari Shina. She had gone to get food and water from a local store, and when she come back and opened the hatch, Kagari was inside, screaming. Oh, come on. How does this stupid thing work? She looked inside and saw that Kagari was slamming her tiny hands down on the control console. What are you doing? Huh? Kagari shrank back when she saw Suzuha. I'm not. This isn't what it looks like. Answer me. But... I woke up and you were gone. It was dark and the lights wouldn't turn on. And it's so cramped and scary in here. So I tried to open the door. And then when I was fiddling with it, this happened. Kokori started to cry. I'm sorry, big sissies, I'm sorry. But I was really scared. I see. Suzuha relaxed her guard. Kokori had PTSD from her time as a war orphan, and she hadn't fully recovered yet. Mary had once told her that she got very frightened in dark and cramped places. It would make sense if waking up in the dark caused a panic attack. At the time, machine could only function with Suzuha's biometric authorization. Someone of Kaguri's size wouldn't be able to break the console either. You passed out from the shock of time travel, so I wanted to let you get some rest. I'm sorry. Suzuha grabbed one of Kaguri's tiny hands to help her up, and then led her outside of the machine. Wow, it's so hot. Kaguri, promise me that you won't touch the switches on the control console no matter what, okay? Okay. I'm gonna get started. You go and rest. Have some food and water if you want. Suzuha handed Kaguri the provisions she'd bot, then went inside and poked her head into the cargo space under the control console. She had connected the IBM 5100 she stored there to a portable terminal she brought from the future. By all appearances, it was an early 2000s cell phone, but inside it was a miniaturized quantum computer from the year 2036. Of course, future daughter had made it himself. When she booted up the IBM 5100, rows of numbers started to appear on the screen. What are you doing? Coggy was looking in from outside the machine. Did you study the year 2000 problem? I studied it a little at the orphanage. In the end, nothing happened, right? And that's what everybody thinks. It wasn't made public, but at the time, a lot of places and a lot of countries had serious problems because of it. Really? The issue was this computer, the IBM 5100. It's got an old programming language on it, and the engineers weren't able to fix the program. In fact, they didn't even know that an important program existed that was written in this language. The race to develop the time machine was the beginning of the Third World War, but there's a chance that something that happened during the year 2000 problems and the divisions that resulted from that were a deeper cause. She didn't expect a 10-year-old like Hagari to understand this, but she didn't feel like taking the time to explain. And the year 2000 is a special year, you see. All the world lines temporarily converge here. This means that it's possible the year 2000 problem has a huge effect on all the world lines. The world line in the gap that we're trying to reach, Steins Gate, is no exception. She looked down on the terminal connected to the IBM 5100. So this is a patch program to keep the year 2000 problem from ever happening. Right now, the terminal was converting the patch into the language used by the IBM 5100. The next step was to spread this program all around the world in the form of a virus. The year 2000's problems that this era's engineers missed would completely disappear. The word connect appeared on the terminal sub-screen. Okay, it's connected. She's been told that in Japan in this era, ADSL was still in the test phase, and most normal users connected to the internet by low-speed dial-up using ISDN. Bloop. ISDN, Integrated Services Digital Network, a completely digital network that uses digital exchanges, relays, and subscriber lines. It was far faster than the analog lines that were originally used by dial-up internet services, but use massively decreased after the introduction of the faster ADSL. Oh, hello, Axolotl Oopa Loopa. Welcome on in. How's it going? ADSL, Asymmetrical Digital Subscriber Line, a type of internet connection. ADSL uses telephone lines for high-speed data transmission. In the early 2000s, these quickly replaced ISDN as the de facto method of connecting to the internet. But in the later part of the decade, FTTH services using fiber optics became more popular, and the number of ADSL users had declined ever since. I had a feeling it was you because of the axolotl part, but yeah, it's nice to see you. How's it going? I hope you've been having a good day so far. Imakita Industries. I think I said that earlier, but then I forgot to check the tips. But anyways, it's not slang. It's used to mean I just joined this thread and I'm not sure what's going on. Could someone explain it to me in 3 lines or less? I'll play on the Japanese words Imakita Sangyo, which can mean either I just got here, give me 3 lines, or Imakita Industries. I see. Interesting. A long day of work. Aw. Con prep. What con are you going to? Or that's coming up anyway. Yeah, that's what Unedited Industries is about. But in major city areas like Akihabara, universities, labs, and some big computer companies were starting to use fiber optic broadband. Some of them were even using wireless LANs. Suzuha cracked her way into one of those. Dad had laughed at her when she said that with the 2036 technology, cracking late 20th century network security was a joke. But he'd been right. But if you change the future, will that change the world where we were in? Surprisingly, Kaguri had gotten the gist of what Suzuha had just told her. Oh, Saragumi, nice. Comic-Con Revolution, I haven't heard of that one. Both anime and anime Riverside? Oh wow, you're really busy then. Wow. I wish you luck with all of those cons though. That's right. I refuse to let that world exist any longer. So I've come here to reach Steins Gate. Oh dear. Well, you rest as much as you possibly can, because that's important. Well, I wish you luck with all of that, for sure. Suddenly, the uneasy look on Kaguri's face vanished. It was as if her soul had left its body. Suddenly, her face was expressionless, and her eyes were wide. Voice. I can hear God's voice. Well, hey, at least this makes sense now, given the prior context we were finally given with the earlier pits of Kaguri. I don't know. Kaguri. You can't do that. It's not right. You can't do that, Big Sis Suzuha. You can't. Huh? Kaguri was acting strangely. Suspiciously, Suzuha reached her hand out towards her, but she slipped past Suzuha's hand. And quicker than any child should be able to move, she slammed her shoulder straight into Suzuha's body. Suzuha was caught completely off guard. That's how fast it was. Kaguri's shoulder hit her and hurt the solar plexus. She bent over and collapsed onto the seat. Kaguri tore the terminal out of Suzuha's hands. The cables connecting it to the IBM 5100 were ripped out, and errors displayed on both screens. But what are you doing? Kaguri didn't answer the question. Instead, she grabbed the backpack that Suzuha had placed on the seat and spilled out its contents onto the floor. There were MREs, spare parts, clothes, and a semi-automatic pistol. Suzuha couldn't believe it. Kaguri was going to try and pick it up. Stop it! She forced herself to ignore the pain as she jumped on Kaguri's body. But another unbelievably powerful body slam knocked her back. Something cold was pushed right up against her brow. Don't move. Kaguri's tiny hands weren't shaking at all as she clutched the semi-automatic pistol. In the space of an instant, the safety of the gun had been flipped off. That's when Suzuha realized that this wasn't just a temper tantrum. Suzuha was the one who had taught her how to use a gun. That's why she knew that Kaguri is perfectly calm. Are you insane? Put the gun down now. Stop doing this. You're the one who needs to stop. What? You can't change the world. You're not making sense. There was no hesitation in her eyes. Instead, Suzuha saw only resolve. Do you want the war to happen then? I don't know anything about that. I just want to go back to my old world. Then that's never going to happen. We've already used the time machine to interfere with the past. The world line's changed. There's almost no chance we can go back. Shut up, shut up. I'm gonna save Mama. You can't erase this world. I won't let you. Kaguri turned the gun towards the IBM 5100. Stop. She's like 10 at oldest, so she is tiny. Before Suzuha could stop her, she yanked down on the trigger. Again and again. Stop it, Kaguri. Please, stop. And then Kaguri jumped out of the time machine. That is a good point. Yeah. And Suzuha never saw her again. And every night that passed, she remembered Kaguri. Suzuha had spent some time looking for Kaguri when she'd first come to this era, but in the end she never found anything. But Kaguri Shino, who was now 22 years old, was here in Akihabara. Sounds good. Have fun with the stickers, E. Suzuha was sure of it. No, Mahotan. Hey. Itaru was sitting on the computer next to Suzuha and talking into his monitor. The monitor was displaying a video chat screen. On the screen was a young girl dressed in slovenly fashion. No, a proper full-grown lady. Skype. Oh, I just said Skype because I recognize the format, but I just noticed it says like Kype off in the corner there. So yeah, it actually is Skype. Nice. Morning. It was 8:30 p.m. at the Future Gadget Lab in Akihabara. Meanwhile, Victor Condria was an hour off from the usual due to the daylight savings time, and it was 7:30 a.m. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. Does it? Where is Victor Condria in the States? I still don't think it makes sense, though. Because, like, midnight in JST is usually, like, 7 or 8, depending on, like, daylight savings or standard time in, like, Pacific time. So it can't be 7:30 a.m. in, like, say, the West Coast, but then 8:30 p.m. at the Future Gadget Lab. How many? I'm confused, but I'll just move on. It doesn't matter. But yeah, that's fair, Nigiri. It would be 4:30 a.m. PST at 8:30 p.m. JST. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. Whatever. Welcome on in, Nigiri. I don't remember if I addressed you, but yes. But that would be you though whenever you wake up. Yaja, you okay? It's early. She probably just got up. Maho was a mess. Her hair was never combed right, but her eyes were bloodshot and her gaze was wandering. It seems mitochondria's EST. Okay. I guess that makes sense. I don't know. The spots under her eyes were too dark for the little bit of makeup she applied to cover them up. Please someone brush Maho's mane. Her cheeks were sunken, which made her look even tinier than usual. On top of all that, her skin was terribly pale. She looked like something out of a zombie movie. Anemic Mahotan for the win. Daru. She is very scrunkly, yes. Normally she would have gone and upset at Itaru's joke. But either she gotten used to it, or simply given up, because she said nothing. How are things going there? I've managed to rebuild it to how it was before Okurin took it apart. I think it does most of what it did before. Itaru glanced toward the development room, past the curtain in the back of the lab. Right now he was working with Maho to recreate what Okabe had called a time leap machine. Why? It's not going well. Yeah, it's just not stable. It ends up being a normal microwave. I see. I wonder what's wrong with it. If you could ask Okarin, I'm sure things would be different. We can't do that. He'd get really mad if he even knew we were working on this. Uncle's afraid. He's afraid of the power of the world line convergence. It won't be easy to convince him. In fact, it had almost been a year since she'd first tried and failed. There's a moment of silence. Poor Maho. Oh no, there's no way in hell Maho's part of it because Maho ended up being a part of it in being invited to actually go with him to America. So the fact that, or not America, Japan. So the fact that he's in Japan and Maho isn't means she has nothing to do with it. Isn't there a joke or something about Maho looks homeless or something? I mean, I'm sure that's been made once, at least once before. Naja? Are you okay, Spooky? Anyways. Wait, Maho-dan, are you asleep? Oh dear. It's okay, Nigiri. That... Suzuha's face in the corner. Both of their expressions. Maho's whole body jerked and she almost fell out of her chair. That was close. I almost went back to bed before I left for work. You know, you're working too hard. If you get sick, it'll only slow us down, you know. I'm fine. And actually, after all this work, I'm still not as good as the real genius. I don't think so. You know, I think you're a genius. I don't need you to make me feel better. I got all these hints about the time loop machine that Okabe told me about, and I still can't find the answer. Why don't you ask Amadeus Kurisu? How did she manage to compress all that memory data and send it to the past? Kurisu managed to do it, but Maho seemed upset. It was obvious even through the monitor. No, I'm sorry. This isn't the time to complain, is it? No. Is there anything else to report for today? If not, I'm gonna go to work. There's one more thing. Suzaha looked at Itaru. About what you'd asked me to look into. Did you find something? Nothing clear yet. I see. I've done some breaking and entering into a bunch of networks and taking things about as far as it's safe to do so. I'm not blaming you. Tell me what you know. No, if you want to start screaming insults, I wouldn't mind that at all, Daru. Dad. Hurry, I'm running out of time. Sure. Itaru opened a different window on the monitor. He displayed one of the text files in it. It was a record of the information Itaru and Suzaha had collected. First, the incident where you were attacked in the hotel basement. The cops say it was some kind of crazy cultist on a drug trip. But that's definitely a lie. A lie? Just like the police announcement said, he was an assistant professor at a college. And that's fine, but I can't find anything linking him to a cult at all. I tried accessing public safety secret data file on the cult too, so I'm certain of it. So they're lying. If you look at channel, you'll sometimes see people who look like they're from the cult claiming they're innocent and that the whole thing's a conspiracy. Man, it's always great when cult members are saying something's a conspiracy. Whenever that happens, the haters show up instantly, and they beat the daylights out of the guy. Beat the daylights, a one-sided battle in which the target gets the daylights beaten out of them. I feel like that explains nothing to anyone that's never heard that phrase before. Hater. People on the internet with a certain negative opinion about a certain person or thing. They'll go wherever fans of that person or thing gather and deliberately write things to provoke them. They often get into heated debates with fans. So a couple guys get together and beat up one guy. Yeah. And the haters always have this really well-made fake evidence. Digitally altered images and stuff. There's no way there's a coincidence. That's a coincidence, rather. Really? I don't know a lot about this @channel thing. Most of the big sites have agents on them, including @channel. And they get paid, like it's a business. So they do it 24 hours a day from morning till night. Information control. Propaganda. Long description. An advertisement for a specific ideology, primarily used for political and religious purposes. Propaganda has been around since the time of the Roman Empire, beginning of the 20th century, particularly after the end of the Second World War. Its methods have become more insidious. One example of this new propaganda would be attempts to manipulate public opinion via mass media. Propaganda and advertisements are not always true, and the most obvious of them include lies or slander towards their targets if it is to their wielder's advantage. Long description, yes. Politicians and bureaucrats use them to influence public opinion on the net. There are even companies that specialize in this sort of thing. I see. I can understand that. America has the same thing. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of propaganda as a treat. Just a little bit. These agents can change their IP, but they can't hide from me. So I did some research, and there's an insane amount of agents assigned to that case. It's to the point where I have no idea where the money to pay them is coming from. I see. What about the attack on your workplace, Dad? Same deal. The police had called it a fight between foreign mafias trying to expand their territory in Japan. The media never questioned the story at all, and even people on the boards of the famously skeptical ad channel believed everything they were told. Of course, there was no mention whatsoever of Russia or CERN. So I decided to post a thread where I pretended to be a witness and said I saw some Russian special forces. But you don't have to pretend to be a witness. You were a witness. In fact, you were a victim in that situation. I digress, though. And wow, was I amazed. Talk about some serious try-hard trolling. I got pissed enough that I almost doxed the agent's real name, his company name, and everything else. Goodness. Evidently, he'd been really irritated. It was rare for Itaru to get so angry. Or maybe it wasn't, she decided. In other words, pressure came from somewhere to shut down discussion. That's Japan for you. A real free country. America's no different, is it? You got that right. The two of them smiled at the joke. Anyway, so that's all I can do. I see. That's enough. Thank you. Yajo, you think you can get permission from the lab to come to Japan? Well, I keep sending a request to go as Dr. Lixinen's assistant, but they keep turning them down. Dr. Lixinen's here now, right? Yeah. He's researching the new encephalitis. Since that had nothing to do with artificial intelligence, it seemed Maho wouldn't be allowed to go along. Well, that's fine. If they keep turning me down, I've got ideas of my own. What are you gonna do? Don't tell me you're gonna defy your superior offers orders to drop the case, and then you'll get caught by the bad guys? I've seen that hentai before. God damn my daughter. Hey, Maho. Say, kill me, in as frustrated a voice as possible. Why is he like this? Huh? Agreed. Dad. Suzuha's hand went for her back pocket. Sorry. Itaru's shoulder slumped as he apologized. Lately, she'd been able to put a stop to Itaru's terrible jokes just by doing that. She wasn't sure if it was a good thing or a bad thing that she knew exactly how to handle him. Well, anyway, I should be there before too long. Okay. Tell us when you've got a date. Oh, and Hiyajo, if you're going to work, you should take another look in the mirror first. Just before the end of the call, Suzuha decided to warn her. Maho stood up and walked toward the closet without turning off the camera. She vanished from view, but a moment later. She must have seen how terrible she looked, because she let out a very unfeminine scream. They relaxed for a moment after turning off the video chat. Suzuha thought back to the time before she'd become a time traveler. She did this every time she got off the video chat with Maho. Maho Hyajo. Someone who helped build the time machine, huh? It was after Maho had gone back to America that she'd volunteered to help Suzuha and Itaru with the time machine. That meant when Itaru Hashida completed the time machine 25 years from now, Maho Hyajo must have contributed in some way. But I know I shouldn't say too much about the future, but there's nobody by that name helping you, you know? That's concerning. Huh? Really? Which means she probably left the team at some point. I mean, that's one way to put it, because I'm assuming death here. I don't know whether it was her own free will or due to some external factor. But if nothing else, I don't think she was part of the core team. I see. Just pretty handy to have around, though. I don't really want to say this, but there's a possibility she might be a spy. What? No way. Not Maho Town of all people. Sorry. I just want you to remember that it's a possibility. That's fair. I told you, the war of information that comes before the Third World War has already started. Either way, we can't let anybody find out the machine's secrets. Just make sure you're very careful about that. Yeah. So how are you gonna work on the time machine going forward? I really need Okarin's help. That's the thing. I don't know if he can persuade Uncle Okarin. I might have to do it by force. It was it that tried that before and then it failed. Suzuha pursed her lips. Even with a gun in his face, Renatella Okabe still wouldn't get in the time machine. To be honest, Suzuha was out of options. She stifled a sigh. It didn't do any good to let herself get down. Come to think of it, how are things with Mom? I'm more worried about that. Is everything okay? I'm still going to be born, right? Oh, well, is that more important than the time machine? Hey. Suzuha turned over to Itaru. You can't screw this up, Dad. Yeah. Daddy's gonna do his best, okay? All you ever do is talk. You even wasted those movie tickets we gave you, didn't you? She meant the pair of movie tickets that Mayuri and Ferris had to conspire to give them at the Christmas party. That was because Okarin and Miss Fubuki collapsed, you know? We were so busy with hospital visits and stuff that the movie left the theater. It's not like it's my fault. But I heard that when they tried to give you new tickets, you turned them down. Who told you that? Bixis Mayu and Bixis Rumi, obviously. That's because, you know, it's not very manly to make those two do all the work, is it? So, did you go and do something yourself? This isn't going to work. Maybe this was a more important problem than the time machine. Shizuha brought her hands up to her head. Listen, Dad. I'm not going to be around to lecture you like this forever, okay? I'm leaving soon. Oh. Suddenly there was a sad look in Itaru's eyes. Don't make that face. I promised I'd stop worrying about it. For the past 6 months, Suza had been thinking about whether it was really right to erase this world. But in the end, it was none other than Itaru who pushed her to go ahead. I'm sorry. She couldn't bear to see her father so depressed, so she patted his broad back. Don't just sit there and be glum. Send Mom a message and see if she's free sometime. And if she is, invite her to a movie. Yeah, that's way too sudden. I don't care if it's sudden or not. Do it anyway, okay? This is an order. An order. What's your answer? Sir, yes, sir. Satisfied, she headed off to take a shower. Oh, but before that, I'm gonna hit the convenience store. Will the thing with Kaguri happen again? I actually haven't eaten yet. I'm probably gonna be up all night again, so I want to get there before it gets too late. Still hunched over, he pointed towards the development room. He was pointing at the phone wave name subject to change Unit 02 that was put together, but still undergoing testing. Don't glare at me like that. I'll eat as healthy as I can, so please forgive me. Vanilla. Huh? Prediction, post-shower fight happens, but it's Moeka this time. I don't think so. We'll see what happens, though. I want ice cream when I'm done with my shower. Vanilla ice cream. Okay. I'll go buy you a lot of really top-shelf stuff. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just one thing is fine. Sir, yes, sir. That was enough to cheer Dario up. He took his wallet and ran out of the lab. Oh, hello, Dawn. Welcome on in. It's really late for you. Goodness. I hope you're well, though. Can't sleep? Oh, no. I hope you're well despite not being able to sleep, though, and at least it's the weekend. Hopefully you're not going to have to be up early tomorrow. Or I guess technically today in your time zone, right? Or is it not quite that late yet? I don't know. He's such a handful. She had just about taken off her jacket so she could take that shower. Yes, head pats. Very good. But Suzuha, Itaru had come back into the lab. What is it? I found this on the stairs. Itaru showed her a keychain that he was holding. It was a round anime character. His color had faded to smoky green. It was an Upa. Do you know whose this is? It is a very good yes. I'm glad you like it. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Dawn. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well, too. Vix's Mayu's, probably. She leaned forward to take a closer look, and then felt like she was experiencing deja vu. I've seen the Supa somewhere before. She'd seen it before? She couldn't really remember when. But her internal alarms were going off. This keychain was extremely important. Upas were common enough that you could find them anywhere. The plastic edges had worn down. The paint was fading and coming off in places. But there was no dust, and there were no stains. Instead, it shone brightly, as if its owner had put a lot of effort into taking good care of it. The chain was so old that the part of it had snapped off. That was probably how it got dropped. Where was it? I've seen this before. Thank you for the head fats, Nigiri. Did Maishi show it to you? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will hydrate, yes. She stared at the green upa in Itaru's hands. And then, in her mind... Hi, Nero. Welcome on in. Surprise, surprise to see you here, too. Yeah, well. Look who's here. I'm almost fully loaded with all my mods. Yeah, that one is much louder than the Nya one. You're tired AF. Well, it's nice that you're here despite that. I hope you've been well, Nero. It feels like it's been centuries since I last spoke to you. Spocked. You're doing great. And then in her mind, she heard a young girl scream. This is Mama's Upa keychain. I'm giving it to you. Take good care of it, okay? She gasped. A feeling of indescribable terror raced down her spine. This can't be... Kaguri's? You know what? That's fair, Dawn. Do whatever you gotta do, right? Just make sure to take care of yourself, too, though. Be gentle with your knee. Kaguri's? That was when she last seen it. August 13th, 2036. The day she got into the time machine. That's when she'd seen this Upa. It was older and more worn now, but the more she remembered that day, the more certain she became. This is the Upa that Mayuri had given to Kaguri. She'd seen Kaguri holding it and crying to herself many times before. Kaguri? You mean future Miss Mayusa's daughter? Yeah. Did you find her? No. But she knows where I am. But what do you mean? She's watching the slab. Satisfied, she headed off to take a shower. Ever since then, her careful efforts to defend the time machine had paid off, as she hadn't seen any signs of Kaguri, but she never thought she'd be watching the lab. No, it would have been obvious if I'd given it any thought. She's trying to stop us from reaching Steins Gate. She doesn't want this world to end. Which means she's watching not just me, but you too? Huh? Me? Well, I don't think your life is in danger, probably. If you believe what we know about how world lines work, you live till at least 2036. But she might come to interfere with your research, so we can't reach Steins Gate. A lot of bad things have been happening around Suzaha, Itaru, and Rentaro Okabe. There was some possibility that the final target was Itaru. From now on, just be safe. Lock the door whenever I'm not around. Okay, got it. Even if Uncle Okarin, Mom, or Big Sis Mayu are here, don't leave it open. It might not help much, but make sure you use the door chain too. You know, Okarin and Mayashi are one thing, but if I did that when I was alone with Amaneshi, did you think that'd give her the wrong idea? That's true. If that makes her not like me, my whole family could be in trouble. This part's gonna drive you up the wall. Oh dear. Suzuha groaned softly, unsure of what to do. If he'd only gotten to be her boyfriend sooner, there wouldn't be a problem. Wait, we're back to that? Just be careful, okay? Yeah, I'm wondering if the break-in's gonna be any different. It'll be interesting. We'll find out. Very soon, obviously. Suzuha decided to keep the green Upa keychain. She softly ran her fingertips over it as she stared at it. Hey, Suzuha. Kaguri-tan's not related to Mayashi, but she's still her daughter, right? That's right. Could somebody raised by Mayashi grow up to the kind of person who would assault someone? I just can't imagine it from what you've told me. I'd expect her to be a kind, easygoing, and cute little girl. I wish that was what had happened. Yeah. I thought that was how she turned out, too. But now she's probably... From what she's seen at the radio building, she could tell. Kaguri had definitely received professional combat training. It wasn't just the simple self-defense techniques that she'd learned from Suzuha when she was a child. As she'd grown up, she'd been taught the cool techniques of a killer. There was no way to know where she'd been, or what she'd been doing ever since she'd gone missing in 1998. But there was no doubt in Suzuha's mind that she was trying to ruin her plans. Suzuha sighed as she took her shower. Since it was summer, she set the water temperature low. It was barely any hotter than tap water. As long as the water was pouring down on her, she could feel like all the bad memories were being washed away. She slapped her cheeks with both hands and turned off the water. The small tiled room suddenly became quiet. In the silence, she vigorously toweled off her hair. This building was never intended for anyone to live in. Not only was there very little room, but there wasn't even a place to change. It was small and there was no windows, and the steam from the shower room built up, making it an unpleasant sauna in summer. Supposedly, Itaru and Okabe would sit naked next to the fans to get away from the heat and moisture. Of course, this was only when the girls, as well as Luka Urashibara, weren't around. But Suzuha couldn't do that. There were those huge scars on her chest. If she was careless and Yuki saw them, she'd have a big problem. So she always forced herself to change within this small space. The second she left for the shower room, she realized something was wrong. The lights were off in the part behind the curtain, where the lab room was. She was sure she'd left all the lab lights on when she'd gone to take a shower. She didn't remember turning them off. Still completely naked, she flung open the curtain. Thoughts. She dropped to the floor, ready to move. She could tell by the light from the shower room that there was no one else there. She didn't hear any breathing. She didn't feel any other presence. Sips coffee. Yeah, that's fair. Did I come back? And then when he'd left, he turned off the lights. No, that couldn't be right. She looked around the room and saw that things had been moved in a way that an amateur wouldn't be able to notice. Itaru's computer desk, the sofa area, the bookshelves, even the mini kitchen, someone had gone through them all. From the look of it, the same was probably true of the development room. Thank you for the help, Piet. Much appreciate. Yes, Suzuha glanced over at the areas where she kept her guns. The closest was the sofa that she used as a bed. She wanted to have one easily available if she was attacked while she slept, so she had cut out the back of one of the sofa cushions and hidden a suppressed semi-automatic pistol in it. It was a .32 caliber for self-defense, so it wouldn't do much damage unless you had good aim, but it was small and relatively quiet, which made it the best choice for a place like this. Suzuha tensed all of her muscles, coiling like a spring, and slowly moved towards the sofa without making a sound. As she did, she tried to notice any changes in the surrounding area. There's a small sound in the development room. It was a tiny, tiny creaking of the floor, to which she'd usually pay no mind. But this was more than enough for Suzuha. In an instant, she moved from quiet to action. She cleared the distance to the sofa in a single movement and quickly drew her gun. She held it ready and slipped into the shadow of the refrigerator. From this position, she could barely see into the development room. The room became silent again. But this time the intruder in the other room didn't try to hide their presence. Try anything else, shoot. Hands on your head. Come out slowly. Suzuha threatened the intruder in a low voice, but the intruder seemed completely unconcerned as they exposed themselves to Suzuha's gaze. You must be pretty hot, wearing that in this weather. Why not at least take off your helmet? The intruder was wearing a motorcycle suit, just like before. Even the helmet was the same. The leather suit clung tight to their skin, revealing a voluptuous and perfectly proportioned body. It was clearly a woman. What you're looking for isn't there. It's in my pocket. Suzuha pointed toward the entrance to the shower room. The shirt she'd just taken off was laying there on the floor. The girl in the motorcycle suit turned her head, but because the face mask was down, Suzuha couldn't read her expression. You should know better than to drop that. It's something Mama gave you. Right, Kaguri? What if Suzuha didn't point and was just, it's in my pocket? What pocket? I mean... The second she spoke, Kaguri Shina was the first to move. She drew with a glossed military knife that must have been hiding somewhere behind her back, and closed the gap between herself and Suzuha in an instant. Suzuha pointed the gun at her legs and pulled the trigger, carefully aiming away from her vitals. She heard the small pop of a suppressed .32 and saw Kaguri lose her balance and fall. Oh? That's different. Or she thought she did, but it was a feint. Damn it. Gave myself false hope. She only pretended to lose her balance. In fact, she changed directions and was heading for the shower room. It seemed her first goal was to get what she'd come for. Huh? After firing only one shot, Suzuha realized. Even at .32 should have more recoil than this. She fired again, but Kaguri didn't flinch even for a moment. A blank? How? At some point, all the bullets in Suzuha's gun had been swapped with blanks. The instant's panic was all it took. Kaguri reached out for the shirt on the floor in front of the shower room. No way! Suzuha gave up firing and flung the gun at Kaguri. There was a dull thud as she hard-barreled slammed into her neck. Okay. Caught off balance, so she staggered before she could grab the shirt. She could hear Kaguri's voice for the first time from within the helmet. Suzuha jumped. She kicked the off-balance Kaguri as hard as she could with her toned, muscled legs. There was no time to hold back. Kaguri went flying all the way to the edge of the room. That had to have broken a few ribs. Suzuha jumped toward her to continue her attack. With terrifying speed, Kaguri leapt off the ground and charged at Suzuha. There wasn't enough time to come to a full stop. A sharp blade swept by mere centimeters from her exposed abdomen. If she pulled back even a few tenths of a second later, the knife would have fatally sliced open her gut. You bitch. The blood rushed to Suzuha's head. Kaguri was serious. She was planning to kill her. There was no hesitation in her movements. Suzuha leapt back and searched for something she could use as a weapon. But other guns were probably no different. There was a good chance they all had their ammo swapped with blanks too. It was even possible that all her self-defense knives had been taken too. Which left? There were several knives carefully stored in the kitchen, and Yuki had brought them over to use in teaching the other girls how to cook. But Kaguri had evidently noticed them as well, and she was moving to keep Suzuha from reaching them. Huh. Looks like you've had a lot of practice. It's hard to believe you're the same girl who spent all the time sobbing inside the time machine. I'm surprised. Suzuha kept her distance from Kaguri as she slowly moved along the wall. Her competitive drive burned even brighter as she tried to come up with a way to overcome her disadvantage. Here, Kaguri. This is what you're after, right? She picked up her shirt from in front of the shower room and took the green keychain out of its pockets. What's wrong? Come get it. Her fingers moved as if to crush it. She could see Kaguri twitch. For the first time, she could detect a hint of emotion beyond the helmet. In an instant, she threw it at Kaguri's stomach. The keychain flew in a slow arc, like she was tossing it to a friend. If something they loved was thrown like that, even the fiercest warrior would instinctively reach out both hands to grab it. Kaguri was no exception. She carefully held her mother's memento in both her empty left hand and the right hand that still clutched the knife. Using the slow arc of the keychain as camouflage, Suzuha ran at her in a straight line. Her right fist connected hard with Kaguri's stomach, and then her left arm smashed Kaguri's head to the side. Kaguri's body fell to the ground, her right shoulder taking the brunt of the fall. Suzuha could hear the sound of her joint dislocating. The knife slipped from her grasp. Suzuha got behind her and mounted her, twisting her right arm mercilessly. At the same time, she squeezed her own left arm around Kaguri's neck and squeezed hard. She could hear something like a moan from Kaguri's throat. She could both hear and feel the bones in her arm and neck creaking. Stay put. I'm not going to kill you. But Kaguri picked up the knife on the floor with her left hand and once again tried to use it on Suzuha. Suzuha was forced to squeeze her arm and neck even harder. Stop it, Kaguri. I understand how you feel now, but it's wrong. It's wrong. But Kaguri didn't stop. If anything, she tried even harder to pull Suzuha away. What kind of training did she get? Why wouldn't you take off her helmet too? Because there's no point. She already knows it's Kaguri. And plus, Kaguri wearing the helmet puts Kaguri at a disadvantage, you know? Even all the battles she's been in, this much pressure on two different spots wasn't enough to get even the toughest soldier to submit to or fall unconscious. Terrified, Suzuha squeezed even harder. At any rate, she wouldn't simply knock her out. She really would kill Kaguri. But if she stopped, Kaguri would kill her. What should she do? Makes it Suzuha. It hurts. It hurts. And then she heard a sad, weak voice from inside the helmet. It startled her, and she relaxed both her arms. But that was just what Kaguri had hoped for. The knife came very close to cutting Suzuha's left arm. When she let go to dodge it, Kaguri shook her off and kicked at her hips with both legs. Suzuha was slammed back hard into the computer desk, and for a moment she couldn't breathe. She fell to the floor, and the printer and monitor crashed mercilessly into her naked body. She forced herself to stand up, gasping hard as she did so. Kaguri's breathing was heavy too. Her right arm was pointed in an impossible direction and hanging limp. She wouldn't be able to use it for a while, probably. But her left arm was still holding the knife. You've learned some dirty tricks, haven't you? Suzuha glared at Kaguri's face. Not that she could see what it looked like behind that helmet. The two of them fell silent as they tried to catch their breath. The tension in the air was so thick that it was difficult to move a muscle. Sweat rolled down her forehead and into her eyes, but she still didn't blink as she waited for Kaguri to make her next move. It was the sound of the front door opening that broke their stalemate. Hey, Suzuha, did I just hear a loud noise? Suzuha felt a chill run down her spine when she heard Itaru's voice. Huh? Why is it so dark? No, Dad, stay back! She yelled at the exact same instant he turned on the lights. The sudden brightness was enough to make Suzuha flinch for an instant. Kaguri was wearing a full-face helmet, and that made all the difference. She leapt towards Itaru just a moment before Suzuha. Kaguri's black knife went up to his throat. Dad! Kaguri spun around behind him, using Itaru's huge body as a shield. Suzuha staggered toward him, gritting her teeth. Let go, Kaguri. Lay one finger on Dad, and I don't care who you are, Kaguri. I'll kill you. Itaru's yelling is funny, yeah. But Kaguri remained silent as she headed outside the door with her hostage. And then, in the next moment, she shoved him forward. Itaru lost his balance and fell towards Suzuha. Suzuha fell to the ground underneath his weight. Itaru just barely managed to support himself with his arms and legs to keep from crushing her. Move! Suzuha tried to shove him off, using a little more force than she may have intended. But Itaru was so huge it would take him a moment to get up. This is why I told you to lose weight. What? She was getting away. She somehow managed to crawl out from under him and quickly tried to follow after Kaguri. Suzuha, wear this! Suzuha was still lying on the ground as he tossed the naked Suzuha her shirt. She grabbed it and quickly put it on, then ran outside. But when she looked around the street, the girl in the motorcycle leathers wasn't there. There was no way to even know where she'd gone. She got away. It would be dangerous to run around trying to find her now. There was a chance Itaru would be attacked while she wasn't at the lab. But was that Kaguri-tan? Itaru came outside as well. Yeah, I'm almost certain. I see. So this is how it's going to be with the two of us in the end. The bruises and wounds were bad enough, but the pain that ached in her heart was the worst of all. You know, I really did like her. Yeah. She was small, but so brave, and she did her best to protect Big Sis Maya. And I taught her a lot. I thought of her as like a little sister. Yeah. But now she's my enemy. He totally straightened up her shirt sleeves. You know, you look like a slutty girl in an age game right now, Suza, huh? Huh? What? Suzuha was caught completely off guard. Her t-shirt only came down to just below her hips, roughly the length of a miniskirt. Her breasts were almost completely bared. The shirt's hem was turned up and she felt exposed. Well, I don't mind age games to slutty girls. I don't think the whole naked except for a t-shirt thing is all that bad. You're being silly again. You could have gotten badly hurt. But Itaru shook his head. I got freaked out by the knife, but I don't think I really needed to be that scared. Unless I'm mistaken. Itaru rubbed the part of his neck where the knife blade was. When she had the knife to my throat, I could hear it, just a little. Hear what? She was probably crying. Huh? Crying? Under that helmet? After that whole battle with Suzuha? While holding a knife to Itaru's neck? But why? So don't you think it's too early to jump to conclusions? Dad? Did you buy me that vanilla ice cream? Yeah, of course. I love to eat it. I'm a little tired. And then she almost fell forward. But Itaru managed to catch her before she hit the ground. Hey, Suzuha. I'm fine. But let me rest a little. And that's all she had the energy to say. She closed her eyes on her dad's arms, and her consciousness melted away. Okay, yep, skipped my birthday. Saw that coming. When July came, the sun shone. When July came, the sun shone down even harder on eastern Japan. Summer was truly here. The news had been saying for days that the heat island effect might make this the hottest summer in years. And then, on the first Sunday in July, the arrivals lobby at the international terminal of Narita Airport was filled with foreigners and Japanese passengers returning home. Look at all these people. I think there's more now than there were a minute ago. I didn't expect the airport to be this busy on a Sunday, Nya. Don't miss her, Mayuri, Ferris. You know how tiny she is. The three of us were waiting for someone here. Sorry, I can't go today. It's fine, no problem. There's something to do, it's alright. Having a lot of people around would just bother Hiyajo. You had something to do, it's alright. I hope I can see Maho before she leaves. I'll ask her how long she's staying and contact you later. Thank you. No. I wonder what Lukako's busy with, though. That's suspicious. We've been there almost an hour. Oh, Karin, I'm gonna have to tell her Miu said that. please don't. It was just a joke. There's no sign of her, though. Maybe it was a mistake to try and surprise her by meeting her at the airport, yeah. We should have at least asked what time she was arriving. You didn't? Guys. We hadn't told her that we were coming to greet her. And so all we knew was that she was arriving at Narita on an afternoon flight. Okay, they at least have a vague idea, but like still. If I'd known we were going to have to wait so long, I would have tried to get the arrival time out of her. There was a stream of passengers flowing by us, but no sign of the person we were waiting for. Just as I was starting to wonder if we'd missed her because she was so small, she finally appeared. Yay! Or more precisely, I saw a giant travel suitcase rolling all by itself away from the gate. No! And from behind it, I heard a voice I recognized. Christ. I did not fake my passport. What is wrong with people? Aw, poor Maho. Every single time, no matter what country I go to, they always have to check it, and it always takes forever. I walked up to the suitcase and gave it a pat. Yajo. Huh? Maho had been leaning forward and pushing the suitcase as hard as she could. Her mouth hung open when she saw me. What? It's been a while. Glad you were able to make it past customs. You look really pale. You okay? Of course I'm okay. Wait, never mind that. What are you doing here? You told me you were arriving this afternoon, right? So I decided to come surprise you. You did? That's... Thanks. Thanks. For some reason, her voice became really weird at the moment she saw me. Was my being here really that much of a surprise? But you know, I told you I can get Saki about a station on my own, and to meet me there. Oh, come on. You come all this way, so it's the least I could do. Also, I'm not sure you can really get Taki about it on your own. How rude. I'm not that helpless. Mayuri and Ferris came up as well. Maho, tutturu. No, you're so close, Maho. Tutturu. Maho-nyan, I missed you. As Mayuri grabbed Maho's hand, Ferris walked up and gave her a big hug. Mayuri, Ferris, it's good to see you. You came all this way to welcome me? Thank you. By the way, can you not yell Maho-nyan at the top of your lungs in a place like this? Why not? It's cute. Look around. Everybody's laughing, right? It's embarrassing. Meow? Is it meow? Ferris really sticks out after all. While we've been waiting here, all the foreigners had been pointing at her and yelling, "Cat ears, cat ears!" Some had even asked for pictures. Yajo, I'll take your luggage. No, thanks. Still, this was a really sudden trip, wasn't it? It was only a few days ago that I found out she was coming. Are you here to help Dr. Lixon again? Oh, well... Maho is fidgeting and glancing up at me. Are you still talking to Dr. Lixon very often? Yeah. He's still over here doing his research, right? Sometimes he invites me out to dinner. It's a big honor. It's honestly kind of cute. I see. That's bad. Bad? Why? Oh, nothing. Nothing you have to worry about. She really was acting weird. She wasn't like this when I saw her last winter. Was she tired from her trip? I was seeing us here that much of a surprise. I'm not here to help the professor this time. I'm visiting some relatives in Okinawa. Is that why you're in Akihabara? But since I'm here anyway, I decided to drop by Akihabara first. Likely story. I see. Okinawa, huh? For a moment, the name of that place brought back visions of that nightmarish time. After I collapsed on Christmas, I was sent to another world line where I'd spent a month fleeing to Okinawa. Okinawa? That sounds so nice. I'd love to go there. You didn't go there on your school trip, Neil? We went to Hokkaido. I went to Hawaii, Neil. Okay. Wow, a foreign country. Aloha. No, that's cute. Putting aside the girls and their talk of school trips. So, Hiyajo, you're not staying in Tokyo that long? Huh? Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be. You're right. Sus. Do you have a hotel in Akihabara now? Not yet. I'm gonna go look for a cheap business hotel. You didn't book your hotel before your... How... I would not be able to live not booking a hotel before leaving to the place. That is so stressful. Oh my god. Then come stay at my place. You can use the same room you used before, Nyan. What? But I really couldn't. Aw, don't worry about it. I'm always happy to have you, Nyan. Nyabout. Nyabout. But I really couldn't. Then how about this, Nya? You can stay for free, but in exchange, you have to do just a little bit of work at my cafe, Nya. Your cafe. Main Queen Yan Squared, right? You can't mean the place where they wear the cat ears. That's right, Nya. All my cat ear maids are busy with komima preparations right now, Nya. They come to me crying and asking for time off, Nya. In other words, there's a serious shortage of cat-eared maids, Nya. That's right, Nya. So how about it, Mahonyan? How about it, Nyan? I refuse. What? Why not? Why? You know why. I want to look good in those things. You sure you sure would. Maya, she sure you'd look great. No objections, yeah. Okay, you think so too, right, Nyan? Yeah. I'm sure she got plenty of fans. Fans? I don't like being flattered. I'm not flattering you, though. Then you need to go to an optometrist and get your eyes checked. Wow. Nyanya, she turned all red. I did not. I think Mahanya needs to realize how attractive she is, Nya. Yep. If Mayashi was a boy, she'd be in love. No. I'm telling you, that's not true. I think you should probably, I don't know how to say it, put a little more effort into your appearance, maybe. Okabe. This is not the time to say that. If you did, I'm sure you'd look more. I was trying my best to sound encouraging, but just ended up sounding like a real jerk. At least your inner monologue realizes that. Of course, she was annoyed. I'm fine as I am. My job as a scientist is my first priority. But, what if you find a guy you like, Nya? You won't be able to show him how you feel, Nya. I'm fine. I don't think it'll ever happen, so it doesn't worry me. She gave a sigh that was a little too deliberate. Nah, I'm sorry. The jet lag and the trip must have got me a little tired. I know the feeling, Nya. Jet lag is rough, Nyan. I've got a limo ready, so you can catnap on the way, Nya. A limo? Ferris had rented a white limo to pick up Maho. Sheesh, she really did go overboard. But thanks to that, my Yuri and I were able to enjoy its big comfy seats on the way to Narita Airport. I can read. You can rest on my lap if you want, Nya. Oh my. Or would you rather rest on Mayashi's lap, Nya? Mayashi's okay with that. No. But I'm fine. I'm not a kid. But I can tell you're really tired, though. Are you that busy with work? Well, I've got 2 projects going on. 2 projects? You're working on something besides Amadeus? Nah. She quickly put her hand over her mouth. It's classified information. I see. Sorry about that. It was true that American University Labs had a lot of stuff like that's going on there. I heard there were a lot of industrial spies. If she wasn't careful about what she said, she might get fired or worse. It was a mistake on my part to even ask. Come to think of it. And where's Hashida today? He's doing the most important job of his life right now. The most important job of his life? Daddy's on a date right now. Maho's shock was almost comical. I must really be tired. I'm hearing things. No, I can understand why you'd feel that way, but... He really is on a date. What? I can't believe it. You're kidding me. That pervert? Even Maho was calling him a pervert. Taylor had said that he was just talking to Maho a lot too, and I could just imagine what their conversations were like. But actually, if Dottie didn't do his best today, it would ruin the world's entire chain of causality. In that sense, Dottie's date today was an event with the universe spanning implications. About half the seats at Go-Go Curdy were full. It was Sunday, but it was also after 2 p.m., and so the lunchtime rush was over. Suzuha was sitting at the restaurant's far edge, a baseball cap pulled down over her face. She was hiding her face with the cap and carefully watching a couple sitting nearby. Here you are, your Major Curry. A cheerful employee put down 2 giant silver plates, or trays miraculously, in front of them. Suzuha could see the other customers looking at them and whispering. The couple really stood out after all. The man was a giant who looked like he ate Major Curry all the time, but the woman was slim, pretty, and looked very kind. The combination of huge man and slim woman was unbalanced as the combination of pretty girl and Major Curry. The major curry was big. It was huge. Suzuha knew from experience. The massive silver trays were loaded with rice and curry and topped with 2 fried cutlets, fried shrimp, sausage, and boiled egg and a mountain of cabbage. There was 2 or 3 times as much curry as you'd find in a normal dish, and the toppings were just as big. Even a growing young boy would find it hard to eat them all. Suzuha was irritated. Why are you ordering major curry on your first date with her dad? The Beauty and the Beast couple that Suzuha was watching, of course, was Itaru and Yuki. In the morning, they had gone to see a movie in Yurakucho, and then they come to Akihabara and gone straight to Go-Go Curry. Suzuha had followed them to the whole time. That's why she couldn't believe Itaru's choice of date spots. I don't mind Go-Go Curry at all. In fact, I like it, but this is your first date. There are other places you could have gone. She clutched her spoon tight and gritted her teeth. Suzuha knew next to nothing about Japanese youth culture in 2011, and even she knew it was a bad idea. Who knew what was going through Yuki's mind? Or so Suzuha thought. But, well, it's even more amazing than the pictures. Surprisingly, Yuki was ignoring the people around her, innocently enjoying the huge curry. Amaneshi, if you can't eat it all, I'll finish it for you, okay? Okay, thank you. But I'm actually pretty good at this. Yeah? That's a surprise. I actually would always just come and look at the menu outside. Always wanted to try this. I'm glad you brought me here. I'm glad to hear that. Question mark. Suza had evidently worried over nothing, so but still, she realized that Itaru was acting strangely. Ever since he come out of the movie theater, he was walking and talking strangely. Instead of his usual hunched posture, he was forcing himself to stand up straight. His every movement seemed oddly forced, as if he were a broken robot. And he downed glass after glass of water. Oh, I'm sorry. May I have some more water, too? Huh? Oh, sure. Sure. Thank you. Itaru poured water into Yuki's cup. Suzuha had a bad feeling. And she was right. Itaru was moving so awkwardly that he almost spilled water on her hand. Are you okay? My hand just got a little wet. Anyway, let's eat before it gets cold, okay? Yuki quickly wiped down the table with her handkerchief and grabbed her fork and spoon. There were stars in her eyes. Okay, let's eat. Let's eat. Yuki seemed to be really enjoying her meal, but Itaru was very formal and quiet. He was taking little nibbles out of a piece of fried cutlet, like a squirrel eating a nut. The whole time, they weren't saying a word. What are you doing, Dad? Mom's not gonna want to be around you if you're like that. She decided to send him a message online telling him to get his act together, and she just taken out her phone when... Here's your major curry with extra roux. Oh my god, wait, did Dottie spill the water on her hand because she's thinking so much about how they accidentally held hands in the theater? Yep. A huge plate was laid on the table in front of her. The other customers started murmuring again. Come to think of it, when she followed them into the store, she ordered her usual, major curry with extra roux, and then forgotten about it. Now everybody was going to focus on her. In a small shop like this, it was suicide. Huh? Just as she expected, her eyes met Yuki's. Suzuha, I didn't realize you were here. Oh, yeah, what a coincidence seeing you here, Yuki, brother. You should have said something. No, I didn't even notice you, really. She realized that she should probably leave, but she couldn't go without at least taking a bite of the major curry in front of her. Her experiences in the war had left her completely unable to waste food. She felt Yuki and Itaru staring at her as she reluctantly picked up her spoon. Anyway, yeah, you two enjoy yourselves. Yeah, Daddy's face. Her only choice was to finish her extra large curry as soon as possible. She couldn't let herself be in the way. But instead, Yuki came over and picked up Suzuha's plate. Huh? Excuse me. Can my friend sit with us? Sure, go ahead. He says it's okay. Let's all eat together. But wait. Why? Why? Because you ordered Mucha Curry too. I think we need to have a race. Huh? Hashida can be the judge. And before Suzuha could respond, Yuki had moved her plate over to their table. No, wait. You want curry? That's so funny because literally last night, Hifumi and I made curry for dinner when we were hanging out. It was nice. She had no choice but to follow, but before she sat down, she whispered in Yuki's ear. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were close by enough at this point, Nigiri, for you to come over. But whenever you are here, you can have curry if you would like. But yeah, what Spooky said, you are hundreds of miles away. You can teleport, huh? You're on a date, right? Huh? Oh yeah, I'm on a date. It makes me blush when I say it aloud. Itaru didn't react at all, even though she was sure he'd overheard that. I've never been on a date, so I don't know how they work, but is it normal to have a curry speed eating contest with another girl in the middle of a date? I don't really know. But you see it a lot in anime and manga, don't you? A little sister who doesn't want to lose her big brother runs up to the girlfriend and says, "Let's have a competition." For some reason, Yuki seemed incredibly enthused. Suzuho was overwhelmed by her energy. But I don't know anything about that. Yeah, they were chicken because I don't eat pork. Silly nigiri. Is that how it works, brother? But even when she turned to Itaru for help, he just awkwardly sat there, eating his curry like a robot. Brother. He awkwardly turned his head to face her. The rest of him stayed completely still. Did you say something? What's wrong? You're acting weird. I am not acting weird. I am not acting weird at all. Suzuha glanced back at Yuki. Yeah, Daru.exe has stopped responding. And for the first time, Yuki looked concerned. In the end, Yuki and Suzuha did have their curry eating contest. Surprisingly, both of them completely finished their meals. Suzuha won by a very small margin, but the battle was exciting enough that not only the other customers, but the staff as well were applauding at the end. But the whole time, Itaru kept eating by himself. Since this wasn't even a conversation, let alone a date, she sent Itaru home alone. Part of her wanted to demand Itaru explain himself right now, but she decided to talk to Yuki instead. She tried her best to avoid Yuki so far, in order to keep her identity a secret, but it was July now. She would be gone from this era very soon. This might be her last chance to talk to Yuki at all. I'm so glad you were there. Yuki sighed a little after Itaru left. Maybe I did something to offend him. Hachida doesn't seem to enjoy being around me. You don't think he was just nervous? But he was having fun talking with me before the movie, you know? But after the movie, he started acting really strange. Did I do something wrong? I asked him to take me to the curry place, but since he was acting like that the whole time, I wasn't really sure what to do. And so since you happened to be there, I turned to you for help. What had happened inside the theater? Suza hadn't followed them inside. She spent about 2 hours killing time outside. Hey. Why do you like my brother? Huh? Huh? I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this, but he's not exactly a lady killer. What do you think about your brother? Me? Do you like him? Hate him? You like him, right? I can tell by watching you. Well, sure. There were parts of him that she didn't like, but of course she loved her dad. Wait, why are we talking about me? So, what about you? I still don't really know if I like him or not. I I see. Not only had Itaru not told Yuki he liked her, this was still their first date, and they hadn't spoken that much before either. She hadn't even reached the point where she'd saw him as a member of the opposite sex. For almost a year, Suzuha had stayed with him, and she, Mayuri, and Ferris had done everything they could to get the two of them together, but there hadn't been any real progress. Suzuha felt uneasy when she thought about the future. Maybe her dad wouldn't be her dad anymore. Maybe her mom wouldn't be her mom anymore. Dad and mom wouldn't be together. She imagined that future. I don't want that. She looked straight into Yuki's eyes. I'm gonna be leaving soon. What? I'm moving someplace far away. Really? I don't think I'll be back. And I'm worried about Dad. I mean, my brother. So, Yuki. I know this is a weird thing for me to ask. And then she bowed deeply. Please take care of Itaru Hashida. There's no answer from Yuki. Suzuha looked up. Afraid.
Mama da yo.
Mama da yo. Hello, Hades. Welcome on in. How's it going? Suzuha looked up, afraid, and tried to gauge the expression on her face. She looked kind of lonely and kind of sad. I don't know what I want to do. Yuki whispered, and then Suzaha. Oh, jeez. What are we going to do? Everything's almost finished, even though it's never even started. As soon as she got back to the lab, she yelled at her useless father. Wow, Suzaha, I'm sorry. The Hashida family is doomed. Stop sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. This isn't funny. Start by explaining why you were acting that way today. You looked so excited when you left this morning, and Mom said you were normal until halfway through the movie. Yeah. So what the hell happened? Well, you see, listen to this. You know how movie theater seats are cramped, right? So I tried to sit as far up to the edge as I could so I wouldn't get in Amaneshi's way. And then I heard this crack, and the seat almost broke. What? And then I tried to support myself, so I grabbed the armrest. But it wasn't the armrest. It was Amaneshi's, hand. Yeah? Mom didn't say anything about that. You just got jump scared by a cat. Amazing. Was it Binks? I'm telling the truth. It was so soft. It couldn't have been an armrest. It was a girl's hand. It had to have been. I see. But you see, I've held a lot of 2D girls' hands, but never a real girl's. The cat outside. Interesting. And? What happened then? She's so nice. I guess she didn't try to shake it off because she didn't want to hurt me. But you know how fat I am, right? I sweat a lot. She must have gotten soaked. But she didn't say a word. And so I really started to think about that. No, I see. That's why you're acting so weird. I'm sure in her mind, Amaneshi was going, "Get off me, you creepy loser pervert." Mom's not like that. In fact, from the way she was acting, she probably thought she'd upset him somehow. The problem was what she'd said. I don't know what I want to do. What does she mean by that? I don't know what Mom's thinking. Suzaha, let's give up on Mom and you can live with me. You're not making any sense. How am I even supposed to be born? But it's impossible. How come you're not even trying? Even if things look bad, you have to keep going. She grabbed her father by the collar and shook him. If you don't... She remembered how sad Yuki had looked when they said goodbye. Otherwise, something awful will happen. Yeah. And then she heard a car park in front of the lab. We're here, Nya. She recognized the voice coming from below the open window. Oh? Is that Ferris Tan's voice? Suzaha let go of Itaru's collar and moved over to the window. Below she saw a group of people she knew. Rintaro Okabe, Maishi Shina, Ferris Nyanyan, and Maho Hiyajo too. Hiyajo's here already? But why is she here with Uncle Okarin? And then she gave a start and turned back toward the room. Wait, this is bad. We haven't put it away. Huh? Suzaha pointed toward the desk in the development room, where the phone wave name subject to change Unit 02 was sitting. Oh, crap. Hide it. Okie dokie. If nothing else, this meant that Maho Hiyaja was coming to the future gadget lab. Suzaha hoped this meant that the work on the phone wave would get back on track. And there we are. No horrible, painful nonsense. Yet, anyway. Interesting. That's a later problem, though. That is very much so a later problem. But, yeah. That's a next week problem, specifically. Yep. So, yeah. That was that. It was very much so a lot to spot the differences. So, very interesting. Just because there's an explosion in action music doesn't mean there's gonna be horrible, painful nonsense. You should know that by now. But anyways, that was a time. Are you sure? And anyways, so we won't be having a filler Steins Gate next week like I thought. Instead, we will be getting the true ending and minority ending next week, which is what I expected today, but I somehow didn't connect the dots. There was another chapter. I'm glad it wasn't as long as the chapter equivalent on the opposite side, though, because we would be here for another hour. I don't have the physical strength to do that. Oh god. But that was exciting. I hope you guys all had fun enjoying the stuffs. Yeah. CB. There won't be a stream tomorrow. If you guys feel like doing something in the server, though, like if you wanted to watch anything together, just mention it in the Discord and we could set something up. You enjoyed the stuffs? Very good. And then, we won't be starting the next NEP on Monday. We will be having some NEP filler because I want to start new games the same time. Yeah, for one, Steins Gate 0 didn't especially devastate me. Good palate cleanser before we get into the final two endings. Yep, because I don't think they're going to be very sparing to us. I'm not really concerned about the explosion at the beginning, but I am concerned about the everything else that will happen. But at least we'll have the Streamiversary stream with Nigiri and Catman as something that'll give us a buffer before starting the next Steins Gate game. So there's that at least. But, let's see. Let's go ahead and raid Relix. Relix is currently playing Splatoon 3, doing Splatfest things. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed stream. I will catch you guys in Discord tomorrow if you guys want to plan stuff, or otherwise Monday for Miscneps. But until then, bye-bye. Oh, thank you for the head pats. But yes, bye-bye.